Hi everyone, my name is Maureen Tersmanovich. My friends call me Maura. My family's pictured here. I have my husband, my daughter, Kelsey, my son Matt, and my mom, Irene, and my two dogs, Gizmo and Willow. I live in Lenoka Harbor, New Jersey, which is an hour north of Atlantic City. I work in the Frog Pond Elementary School, which is in Little Lake Harbor, New Jersey, and I've been in the same building for the last 14 years as a special education teacher. I'm also an Orton Gillingham trained teacher and a teacher trainer, and I have earned my dyslexia specialist certification. And right now I'm working on getting my master's and being a reading specialist. Challenges during the pandemic. One challenge was my ability to catch up with technology and do it quickly. It's when I first started my master's program at Fort Hays University. So in addition to working with my students at home, I was also working online for the first time in a few years. So there was just a lot of technology at once, but I was able to do it. Figuring out each student's abilities and trying to teach them, and they also would teach me how to do some things online, which was amazing. I was pretty good last spring when we first became virtual because I was basically teaching Orton Gillingham, which is a program for struggling readers or students with dyslexia. And I had many students that were one-on-one, and they were very good at attending class. This year, when I started, I am also a resource room teacher for third grade this year. So that's 2 hours. It's an ELA period. And then I do my Orton Gillingham after that. This was a little trickier because it was a hybrid schedule. So the students were in twice a week. Everybody was home on Wednesday, and then some students were home 2 days a week. And it was very confusing. There was a lot of planning. It was very hard to stay organized. Fortunately, because my students are special education students, they allowed them to come back 4 days a week around Thanksgiving. So I basically had four of my five resource room students in the class 4 days a week, which has really been helpful. Things I've learned during the past year is that life can truly be stranger than fiction. I'm sure none of us ever thought this would happen. Um, I've been very fortunate through this whole pandemic as far as my family staying relatively healthy. I did have COVID, but nobody else got it. Uh, I noticed that all the planning in the world can't prepare you for everything, and so you just always have to be on your toes and be flexible and ready to change if you have to. I know so much more about technology than I ever thought I would, and the really neat thing is that my students want to come to school. Like it used to be that people would hope we'd have a snow day, and now the kids want to be in school all the time. They don't like their virtual day home. And when we did have a snow day this year, some of them were actually crying. So they really enjoy being there, and they miss, their friends and being with teachers and everything. The three types of mindsets. All students can learn and grow. I've always believed this being a special education teacher. We just need to find ways to reach them and different strategies to teach them, but they're all capable. Teacher collaboration over isolation. I have a peer that also teaches Orton Gillingham as well as what I teach, and it's so great to be able to collaborate with her. Often in our district, the special education teachers that teach resource room don't really have the ability to collaborate. Like we don't have what they call like the PLC time, like our preps don't mesh. And so having somebody to talk to and bounce ideas off of and share information is just invaluable. I've always thought that happiness and optimism are great. I was raised in a very happy household. We laughed a lot. I've always been pretty optimistic, and I think it really helps being an educator in good times and in bad. And students just need to hear more positive thoughts throughout their days because sometimes some of them don't really hear many positive thoughts. The 5 types of dispositions. Confidence has always been a disposition that I've been lacking. Over the years, I've become more confident because of my experience, and I know a lot of strategies to teach students who are struggling readers, um, and they find great success when I do use those strategies, but it took a long time for me to become confident. Being a risk taker and decisive, I believe experience can make a teacher more decisive and a risk taker. I know it's really hard in the beginning because often when you first start, you're unsure of yourself. Um, but with time and experience, you become so much more decisive and you make decisions every day that impact your students. A sense of humor. My sense of humor is the best part of me. It's so important to have a sense of humor while working in a school, and you need to be flexible and go with the flow and laugh at everything that's so absurd. And it really relieves some stress and de-escalates stressful situations. And my students always feel comfortable in my room because we do laugh a lot. Empathetically assertive. I know how important it is to see things from other person's perspectives. I come from a Title I school, and we really have to pay attention to our students' socioeconomic backgrounds and the life experiences that they've had. Some of them really struggled day to day, and we just really always have to keep that in mind. As a learner, I've been learning ever since I've received my teaching certificate. My students are always shocked when I tell them that I have to go to school, and they're just amazed that I'm so old and still go to school. But learning everything keeps me on my toes. The 3 types of practices: focus and to prioritize. As a school leader, you need to be focused on what you feel is a priority, and it must be difficult to say no and stay on track above all else. And I would find I agree with all these ideas of practices, but I think it's got to be very difficult to say no sometimes when maybe you want to say yes, but you have to stay on track. Examining feedback and data. Data is a constant in my district. Teachers use data to guide their teaching throughout the year, and it is important to ensure that the data gathered is purposeful. So sometimes I know we do some assessments that don't always seem like they're important, but they do give us information about the whole school. Emotional intelligence. As an educational leader in my district, it's important to be mindful to keep things positive while treating everyone with dignity and respect. And we always have to make students feel valued and safe. George Marshall's 8 Principles of Ethical Leadership. Personal courage. A good administrator will make decisions based on the good of the students. Public interest ahead of self. The needs of the students and the school staff will come before the administrator's needs. Self-control, self-discipline, and integrity. There should be a mutual respect between the administrator and his or her staff, students, and families. The administrator should practice self-control, self-discipline, and integrity. Task and employee centeredness. All leaders should balance the needs of their students and staff while completing the tasks at hand. Recognizing talent. A good leader will recognize the talents of their staff and students and use these talents to improve their school. Requiring high ethics for everyone. School leaders should model strong ethics and expect the same from their staff, students, and families. Sensitivity and understanding. School leaders have to be sensitive to the school community and share equity among all the district members. And inclusiveness. By including all members, a school leader can raise the moral of their staff and the students if all are involved in decision making whenever possible. My personal strengths, I think my happiness, optimism, sense of humor, as well as my belief that students are capable of learning are some of my personal strengths, and these things will make me a good educator. They do make me a good educator and will make me a good educational leader. Areas where I can grow. Even though my confidence has improved over the years, there's still some room for improvement. And personal courage is an area where I also think I will improve as I gain more confidence in my ability to be an educational leader. Educational success, having a proper mindset, disposition, and practices are the tools needed to become a successful educational leader. I do agree with all of this. Having a good foundation in ethics, where you put the good of your students, families, and staff ahead of your own needs, will help all the people in the community feel valued and respected. And good morale, in a school community will promote learning and collaboration among all the participants. My correlation, this assignment gave me the opportunity to understand some of the foundational skills I will need to be a successful educator, as well as allowing me to meet my classmates. The relevancy statement, this assignment allowed me to examine my strengths and weaknesses that may impact me as I continue this journey in becoming an educational leader. And my personal reflection in this assignment, it made me think back and reflect on everything that's happened this year and how I've handled myself and even grown. It has made me think about the different things my district has done during the pandemic. I realize that in a time like this is difficult to be an educational leader. Many decisions you make will be criticized, but you have to do what's best for the students above all else. And here are my references. So it was really nice reading all of your